Attorney General Barr gave an interview to the Wall Street Journal, Kim Strassel, and he said something in the interview that just doesn't make any sense. Bill Barr is our Attorney General. I've always liked Bill Barr. I've defended Bill Barr. I think he's done some really great things. But I think there's a misstep here. And maybe he knows something I don't. And if he does, we'll find out later. And I'm always willing, of course, to give you both sides to any story. But in an interview with the Wall Street Journal he gave with Kim Strassel, he said some things in the interview which don't seem to comport with reality. Ladies and gentlemen, I've written 3 books on this. I've had some great sourcing on the whole Spygate affair. And Bill Barr's statements that he could not detect, or Durham hasn't yet detected, any improper activity with the CIA don't seem to make any sense. Here's some coverage in the Washington Examiner by 2 guys who've been all over this Spygate case, Dan Shaitlin and Jerry Dunleavy. Story will be in our show notes, bongino.com/newsletter, if you want to read the show notes there. Bill Barr, quote, Washington Examiner, no sign of improper CIA activity surrounding Trump-Russia investigation launch. Folks, I'm not buying this at all. I'll get to Barr's potential motives for saying this later. It's just, we all understand where we're going with this. Bill Barr, no CIA improper activity during the spying operation on Donald Trump. Folks, that doesn't make any sense. Let's walk through this now step by step. And keep in mind, as I walk through this, I'm going to make the point to you, number one, why I'm not buying the story, that I do believe John Brennan and the CIA were not only involved in the spying operation on Trump, but heavily involved. That'll be point one. Point number 2, what I think is really going on, why Barr is saying this. And point number 3, the London connection and how that may be one of the reasons they're sweeping everything under the rug right now to avoid international embarrassment for certain foreign actors, if you get what I mean. So stick with point number 1 here. There's no improper activity with the CIA and the spying operation on Trump. All the media reports I'm about to give you, by the way, none have been retracted yet. None. Let's go to media report number 1 from The Guardian. It's right here. The story's still out there for anyone to see. If you'd like to see this story at The Guardian, please just put it in the search engine and you can read it right there today. There's no editor's note that says this story's been retracted and is false. The Guardian. It's by Luke Harding back in 2017. British spies were first to spot Trump team's links with Russia. Exclusive. GCHQ, which is the British NSA, is said to have alerted U.S. agencies after becoming aware of contacts in 2015. Alerting agencies? Who? Keep in mind, Barr's telling us, we haven't detected any improper activity with the CIA. We know the Russian collusion story that Trump colluded with the Russians is a total hoax, okay? And Joe, point stipulated, Paula, point stipulated, everybody gets it. We know it's a total hoax. There was never a there. There's no there now. All of it was made up. It was all in a fake dossier called the Steele dossier. It's all fake. None of it was ever real. So if there was never any real Trump colluded with Russia information, then what the hell were the British giving to our intelligence agencies? The answer is fake stuff. Fake stuff. It wasn't real. It was never real. The Mueller report was conclusive. Mueller hated Trump, but at the end concluded not only was there no evidence of Trump collusion, there was no evidence of any U.S. actor colluding with Russia. None. It's all fake. From the Guardian piece. Again, showing you how Barr's conclusions can't possibly be real about the CIA. It says, quote, the GCHQ first became aware in late 2015 of suspicious interactions between figures connected to Trump and suspected Russian agents, a source close to UK intel said. This is all fake, folks. None of this was real. The intelligence was passed to the U.S. as part of a routine exchange of information, they added. Over the next 6 months, until summer of 2016, a number of Western agencies shared further information on contacts between the Trump's inner circle and Russian sources said. The European countries that passed on electronic intelligence, known as SIGINT or signal intelligence, included Germany, Estonia, Poland, Australia, and members of the Five Eyes spying alliance that include the US, UK, Canada, and New Zealand. They also relayed material, one source said. So what do we know? We know now, according to this Guardian piece that was pretty well sourced at the time, and I'm telling you is accurate, that these friends of ours, the Five Eyes intelligence sources, the US, the UK, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and others, Estonia and Poland, along with the UK, as I said before, Five Eyes, are all passing information about Trump's contacts with Russians. These are all fake. None of these are illegal contacts. There's nothing illicit here at all. Are passing it on to our people. You get it? Not complicated. Very simple. Overseas foreign intelligence entities are giving information to who? Our intelligence people. Who's our head intelligence agency? The CIA, led by John Brennan. The piece goes on, and it makes even more specific that the British GCHQ, their NSA, actually, the head of it had some meetings with John Brennan. Their piece, not mine. Quote, The Guardian, Luke Harding. According to one account, GCHQ's head, Robert Hannigan, passed material in the summer of 2016 to CIA chief John Brennan. Not my words, folks. Not Dan Bongino's words. This is the Guard. They've yet to retract this. The matter was deemed so sensitive, it was handled at the director level. After an initially slow start, Brennan used GCHQ information and intelligence from other partners to launch a major interagency investigation. What? I don't get it, Barr. So why is, I don't understand. So Bill Barr saying no improper activity by the CIA. So if that's true, then the information passed from the Five Eyes channels, the UK and others, to our CIA and John Brennan, as stated right there, John Brennan's name. GCHQ gave information to John Brennan, who headed the CIA. Then clearly, this Five Eyes information, this is an official intelligence channel we have with friendlies overseas called the Five Eyes Intelligence Channel. Clearly, there's a record of this, Joe, the information exchange, and there's nothing improper about it. That's what Bill Barr said, right? There was nothing improper about the CIA. They did everything by the book. And by the book means that we have records, which we would, if information was passed, like this this Guardian report says, information was passed from overseas here about Trump to our CIA. Clearly, there's a record of it through the formal Five Eyes intelligence channel. But is there a record of that? Because it was all done properly, right, Joe? Well, let's listen to the great Devin Nunes. He gave this interview a while ago on Maria Bartiromo's show on Fox. And Devin Nunes has been very suspicious about this from the start, because if Barr's right and the CIA did nothing wrong, then clearly there's documentation of these foreign governments who are friends of ours through this documented Five Eyes channel where there's paper and electronic records. Clearly there's a record of them passing this information. So where is it? So this is a little long. It's about 1 minute and 50 seconds. But listen to Devin Nunes hone right in on this and be like, where's the beef, folks? Where's the Five Eyes records? Where is it? What happened? Check this out.
So it took us a long time to actually get this, what's called the electronic communication. As we know it now for your viewers, what that is it's the original intelligence, the original reasons that the counterintelligence investigation was started. Now, this is really important to us because a counterintelligence investigation uses the tools of our intelligence services that are not supposed to be used on American citizens. So we've long wanted to know, well, what intelligence did you have that actually led to this investigation? So what we found now, after the investigators have reviewed it, is that in fact there was no intelligence. So we have a traditional partnership with what's called the Five Eyes Agreement. Five Eyes Agreement involves our friends in Australia, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, Canada, and of course us. So long time process and procedures in place where we move intelligence across. We are not supposed to spy on each other's citizens, and it's worked well. And it continues to work well. And we know it's working well because there was no intelligence that passed from Five Eyes through the Five Eyes channels to our government. And that's why we had to see that original communication. So now we're trying to figure out, as you know, we are investigating the State Department. We think there's some major irregularities at the State Department, and we're trying to figure out how it is that this information about Mr. Papadopoulos, of all people, who was supposedly meeting with some folks in London, how that made it over across into the FBI's hands. We know a little bit about that because of what some of the State Department officials themselves have said about that. So we were glad to get this behind us, but now, of course, as we peel another piece back, it leaves more unanswered questions, which we're trying to get to the bottom of.
Joe, you have the Devin Nunes translator for us. Can you please initiate that?
Here we go.
Initiating Nunes translator, Dan.
We haven't used that in forever.
Been a while.
You have to learn, because Devin Nunes is a good and decent man, unlike Eric Swalwell and others who've been compromised. He's not going to give up classified information on television. So you have to translate what he's really telling you. Let me translate this down to a one-sentence bullet point. There was probably a black op going on here. It's always a dramatic term, right? Black ops. It's like the thing you see on TV, black CIA operation, like under the... Yeah. What he's getting at there is there was obviously foreign governments passing fake information about this Trump-Russia collusion hoax to John Brennan at the CIA. It's been reported on. I'll produce more evidence later. We know it happened. It's not a secret. But Nunes is saying it didn't happen. Nunes is saying there's no record of that through formal channels. Was John Brennan conducting kind of an under-the-rug operation by himself to make sure this information made it to the FBI and elsewhere without having it vetted through normal CIA channels? That kind of sounds like what Nunes is saying there. That kind of sounds like it. That we know this happened, but Nunes can't find it. Meaning, did it happen mouth to mouth? And I'm not talking about CPR. I'm talking about, was Brennan the one marshaling this entire operation through an informal kind of black ops channel he had set up with his overseas foreign friendly counterparts to taint Trump and frame him for a fake Russian collusion scandal? Was Brennan doing this, exchanging all this information and not doing it through formal channels?
You just heard Dan Bongino.